Hey Facebook friends, Marianne here. I'm doing a shout out to everybody right now. It's LGBT Pride Month and a huge love and compassion and support to all of my LGBT friends out there. As many of you know, I am a bi woman, and for me, it's just always been the way I've been, and it took me a long time to be able to talk about it openly. But today, one of my Facebook friends asked me about Sodom and Gomorrah, and it was in response to my posting about how we should always treat everybody nicely, and how you probably know a gay person one way or another, and how you treat them is really a reflection of you. So anyway, they asked, well, what about Sodom and Gomorrah? Well, I just wanted to go straight to the heart of it, because for those for whom the Bible is really important, a lot of people don't really take the time to delve into that story. And the story is actually about two angels that went in disguise as beggars into these towns, and the towns were full of palaces and very wealthy people. They had the jewelry, they had the money, they had big feasts, they never went hungry, and these angels went, covered in mud, soot, ragged clothes, wrinkled skin. They probably smelled. They knocked on the doors and, can you please give me some food? And every time they knocked on the door, go away, just go away, go away. And finally, they came to a tiny little hut on the edge of town. And in that hut was a couple. And that couple had nothing. They had a roof that was probably falling in. They really had the only food they had, put aside was what they were going to get to eat for that week. And they still said, sure, we can help you. They gave the little bit of clean water they had, and they gave a little bit of food. They put it on plates in front of who they thought were beggars. The angels then revealed themselves and said, you have given us hospitality. And therefore, Sodom and Gomorrah were destroyed, not because of people who they were having sex with, but because of a lack of hospitality. And this is told in the Old Testament. And the reason why I bring this up is everyone finds it really easy to try and make it all about the sex, but that's a cop-out. And you know why? Because when you're able to point at someone and say, oh, it's because of who you love or how you love, that's all about you, it's a lot easier than to do the hard work of saying, how am I treating the stranger? Did I walk by a beggar on the street today when it was burning hot in Dallas, Texas, so hot that people were demonstrating how you can bake a loaf of bread in their mailbox or fry an egg on the sidewalk? And I walked by, did I walk by someone who was just sweating profusely and dealing with the heat with no way to relieve themselves? Did I go into the 7-Eleven and bring out a bottle of cold water and hand it to them? Did I use the cop out of, if I give them the money, they're just going to use drugs? Or did I say, you know what, let me get them that cold water? Did I ignore the fact that there are refugees coming over to our border because they're coming from horrendous difficulties, that we can't even begin to imagine? And just say, oh, let me just put them out of my mind? Do I ignore the fact that when I buy something from a slave, manufactured by slave labor, and I just don't want to think about the other? Every time we don't think about the other, we're not thinking about the soul in that other person. And what the story of Sodom and Gomorrah did is it was inviting human beings to say, hey, really think about however you treat the least of these, you treat me. And if I can recognize the Spirit lives in you, whoever you are, and even if you aren't dressed nicely, even if you smell, even if you have no money, whatever, and you knock on my door, say, please help me. If I don't, I am essentially turning Spirit away. I'm turning God away. That is the heart of Sodom and Gomorrah and what it was about. The people were not destroyed because of the gay people. They were destroyed because of a lack of hospitality, a lack of having the heart to be in service to those most in need. So anyway, when people bring that up, that's what it came down to. So I wanted to toss that out. Again, the story is about basically trying to recognize the importance of seeing the other in need and stepping up and saying, I care about my fellow man, my fellow woman. Now, the other thing that I'll leave you with, being a bi person, seeing as it's LGBT Pride Month here in England, is I will just say this. As a bi person, I've always been attracted to both genders. It took me a long time to speak openly about it. But what I'll say is this. People that say, oh God, I can't imagine being with someone of my own gender. Well, then you're probably straight. People that say, oh my God, I can't imagine, being with someone that isn't gay, then guess what? You're probably gay. So if you're one of these people that says it is a choice, it is absolutely 100% a choice, guess what? You're bi. So, if you really believe that it is a personal choice about what gender you get to choose, you're bi. Because, hey, I noticed the hot woman down the street. It doesn't mean that I'm not monogamous, that I'm not absolutely in love with my husband, because I fell in love with the soul that's inside his body, this incredible intellect, this incredible heart. That is who I fell in love with. And if my husband's soul and heart had been in the body of a woman, I still would be absolutely head over heels in love with him. So this is, that's the difference. So if you're sitting there going, no, it's a choice, guess what? You're bi. So deal with it. Anyway, so I hope that this message goes out and answers some of those questions that some of you have been asking. And again, just to remind you, regardless of what your sexual orientation is, the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is asking us all to be kind to the other person, fill in the blank on who the other is, and recognizing that the soul behind someone else's eyes is just as important as this world is our own, and to offer hospitality both in the physical sense and in spirit. So if we don't do that, then that's when we're following what Sodom and Gomorrah did. So hope that answers your question, and lots of love to everybody back in Texas, and looking forward to seeing all of you here in London.